stuff up there is copper. It was severely tarnished. I can spot the location where we haven't cleaned it yet to show you the difference between what was in there when we got here and now what you see. The bare copper metal. We do some tinting highlighting so that you can see more of the character of it, and then we do a clear varnish over the top of that. That will protect it for years.
There we go.
So that the green painted markings that you see on the perimeter walls of the rotunda are markings that the plaster workers have gone through and done a plaster survey looking for deficiencies in the plaster, something that they think needs to be repaired. The architects and thus the construction manager will go through and verify these requirements for repair, and that's the baseline of what needs to happen in the rotunda here for plaster repairs. Artwork's all plastered. One interesting feature that not a lot of people notice, but each one of these 4 tympanums are identical, and you see, it's kind of hard to see, but the woman on the left's holding a feather in her hand, like a feather pen. Westwall is missing the feather.
Yeah,
you can see on her right hand of the woman on the left, the feather is broken off over time, and we'll be replacing that to match the others. There's old historic photographs of the murals in this cove of the rotunda that you can tell clearly that there was a great deal of contrast. Even though they're black and white, you could tell that there was much more contrast years ago than what we had seen as we're going into this restoration period. So we're in here now cleaning, making repairs to the water damaged areas, and then also repairing some of the things that have happened to the murals in the past. When you look at the murals, much of the mural is on a canvas, and this is all on canvas here. They did some of the original painting off-site. A company out of Chicago did this originally, as I understand it, and I think they did a lot of the base painting in a studio in Chicago, brought it here, put it in place, and this is a seam of the canvas right here. You can actually see an original nail that held the canvas in place. Some of those seams had come loose in different areas of the murals up here. Water damage took it off, so we've reattached all those and cleaned the murals and getting them in shape for display again. Now the copper column, or the columns are not copper, they're a steel column that in the past were painted to match the copper, so we're going to go back and paint those a color to complement the copper color. The engineers have designed a fiber optic fixture that optics come out the face of the globe fixture that goes on there. It's the historic fixture just with this retrofit. The optics come out, have a glow, but it goes up to the rail where you're able to maintain the lamp that drives the light into that optic. So we won't have any problem with maintenance in the future, having access to be able to keep those things lit. We bring down the scaffold, you can really see it. This copper in the inner dome hasn't been touched since it was originally put up there. It's just, there's no way to access that. So 100 years of dirt and grime and water damage and all kinds of things. So part of what we needed the scaffold for was to be able to access the high level of this inner dome of the rotunda. We built up to this level and then put a deck at this level so that we could set a rolling scaffold up and be able to access all this copper and glass to clean the copper, get it down to the bare copper, do some tinting, and then protect it just like we're doing throughout the building. What you see, it's interesting, the appearance of this copper throughout the building or throughout this area. is that it's a solid piece of metal, and everything that we see around the glass and up in the dome and in the perimeter of the rotunda is really a sheet copper good. Even the leaves that you see at the base of these ribs are a formed copper element that goes on some metal framing on the inside. It's interesting to come up to it and be able to tap on it and hear the hollow sound of it and realize it's not a big solid element up here. Originally it was a chandelier that hung from the top of the inner dome here and came down. Wasn't in place for a long period of time, or there's not a lot of documentation about it, but there are some photographs that we've used to replicate that chandelier. Chandelier will come back and be in place and be positioned about this elevation to bring light into the rotunda, be able to illuminate the top of the inner dome up here. Supported from a platform that we've constructed just above the acorn there. To do maintenance on that, there's a winch that will be able to drop the chandelier down to the lower floors of the rotunda so that maintenance can remove and replace bulbs. See a lot of the signatures of people that have been up here in the past on that old metal that hasn't been cleaned yet. It's cleaned off here. We are going to keep some of these signatures for historic record of that. We're taking pictures of them as we go too, so that we've got that. The top side of the inner dome that we're looking at with all the copper, we've got the glass panels that fit up here, so we've put the plastic over that to protect the glass and other materials as we're working above and try and keep it cleaner too. There's been reports about the structural concerns with the dome, but as you can see, it's in very good shape. The steel ribs, trusses are in a very good shape. They are tied into the masonry at the base of the ribs, and then as you go up, there's a terracotta tile that extends up and makes the formation of the structure of the dome. And all that's in very good shape on the interior surface side. We may encounter some deterioration under the copper where it turns into a plaster surface. But we don't expect to find much damage and deterioration there either.
So it's primarily just the copper.
The copper is in very bad shape, yeah.